Increased amounts of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere mean more heat is trapped, warming the Earth.
Most scientists agree that rising temperatures are caused by an increase of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, primarily carbon dioxide, fueled by mankind's consumption of fossil fuel.
The climate system is extremely complex.
It's virtually impossible to think of doing an experiment where we'd be able to tweeze out the impact of CO2 versus the hundreds of other variables at work.
Dr. Robert Diegenkak chaired the Department of Earth and Environmental Science at the University of Pennsylvania.
Are you afraid of rising CO2 concentrations?
No. No, I'm not. CO2 is not the villain that has been portrayed.
This cube represents man-made CO2, a greenhouse gas. Although it can build up in the atmosphere, it's only 3.5% of all the CO2 emitted each year. The rest is natural. Water vapor makes up 95% of all greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Greenhouse gases make up only 2% of the total atmosphere. So is that one cube of man-made CO2 driving the climate?
CO2 is not a pollutant. It's not a poison, and we should not corrupt the English language by depriving pollutant and poison of their original meaning. We're really in a CO2 famine now. Most of the time it's at least 1,000, and it's been quite a bit higher than that. The Earth was just fine in those times.
The fact that there was both higher temperatures and an ice age at a time when CO2 was 10 times higher than today fundamentally contradicts the certainty CO2 emissions are the main cause of climate change. Water is the most important greenhouse gas by far.
I'm impressed by the fact that the present climate, from the perspective of a geologist, is very close to the coldest it's ever been. The concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere today is close to the lowest it's ever been.
We are currently living on a carbon dioxide-starved planet, and were we to double carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which is the figure everybody fears, that would be a small step back towards restoring the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The idea that doubling carbon dioxide is going to be environmentally catastrophic, it's not even wrong. It's just a silly idea. We're not dealing with a scientific issue. We haven't been dealing with a scientific issue now for 15 years. We're dealing with a determined political issue. It's a campaign cause.
Here's what the temperature has been on our...
In fact, in an inconvenient truth, Al Gore used the graph of the Vostok ice cores. He said this proves that CO2 and temperature are directly causally related. But he didn't show that actually the temperature goes up first, usually by about 800 years before the